So yeah, thank you guys. Great session that we had earlier, and I want to follow up a little bit because they're popular again, and in my opinion, I don't want to say people are doing them incorrectly. I would just say that there are some advantages and some things that you can do to increase what happens from an open house. So I don't do open houses anymore, or very, very few. And even towards the latter part of when I stopped doing open houses or slowed down on them, one of the reasons I slowed down and stopped doing them was, to be honest with you, I was not doing them correctly anymore and did not have the desire to do that. So I moved into doing some other things. Open houses are great, though. They're great opportunities, especially when you're brand new or newer to the business and they're having no listings, right? Open houses are a great thing. There's a couple of things that you have to do. One is understand and have the proper mindset of what you're looking for and what you're expecting in an open house. I'm just going to go over a few things. And number one, obviously, is particularly nowadays in this market, is to advertise the open house, which you can just do in the MLS. So if you're the listing agent or ask the listing agent to post the open house, so that it hits all the websites, the Zillows, red things about hitting the MLS. You can do that. If the agent has the ability to, maybe they boost in some way or fashion on social media also about the open house. You as the agent that's going to be sitting there, you should be doing as much as you can to promote the open house yourself with social media. Also, if you have an opportunity, if you're me, I would go to at least 25 to 50 homes immediately around the open house, inviting the neighbors. Just tell them it's an open house and inviting the neighbors. And you don't have to just specifically invite them, but if the owner is cool with it, I would do that so that you have additional activity at the open house. You do that for two reasons. One is depending upon where the open house is and the pricing and all that, people like to have an opportunity to discuss with people who may move into their neighborhood, or they may have family or kids or friends that would want to move into their neighborhood. It's a good source. Number two, if you're sitting in the open house and you have neighbors that see you working that open house, there is an opportunity when the listing pops up for maybe one of them, they may give you a consideration, not necessarily the listing agent, because you're out there being aggressive. So that's another thing. All right. The other thing is this: understand and be prepared for the fact that when you're sitting in open house and people that come into the open house, the majority of the time, let's say you got 10 people coming in, more than likely 10 people are not going to make offers on that house. But they may be looking to buy something, and they're not looking to buy right now. It may be down the road, but I can tell you the majority of the time, outside of just quote unquote, there are always some looky-loos. People that are out looking at open houses are thinking, hoping, planning, wanting to do something with real estate sometime in the future. Some it's immediate, some it's a year away or whatever, but they're looking to do something. So it's a good way of meeting people that have some sort of a real estate interest or need, right? So remember this when you're doing that with your mindset. Your mindset, of course, is you want to sell the open house that you're sitting in, but your mindset should also be directed on the fact that you have an opportunity to strengthen your database and pick up clientele. Pick up clientele that may be looking to buy now, down the road, whatever the case, where you have an opportunity to build relationships with these people for when they buy down the road. Other quick thing, I know that it's popular right now to do 1 to 3, 11 to 2, 12 to 4 open houses. And when if we get to a point where it's daylight savings time, we fall back and all that, where it gets darker sooner, ending a little bit earlier, I get that. But here's the reality. The reality is that an open house is a day's event, meaning that you honestly should start probably no later than 11 if you can. And you got to be willing to stay at 5 or 6 o'clock or so, depending on the property, the location, And if the property is owner occupied, if the owner is willing to do that. You want to have the house open. You got to just figure that people have other things they're doing in their day. There's going to be some that can only come early, and then there's going to be some that they can't do anything until late in the afternoon. And, they may have a church commitments. If they have kids, they may have ball games and other stuff that they're doing, youth sports and youth activities. They have things that they're doing, and when it's real hot, sometimes they don't come out until late, and if you happen to be the only open house still standing around those times, your opportunity to possibly get more clientele is great. So that's to me, that's a big deal. If you're only going to have the house open 1 or 2 hours or something like that, there's possibilities, and that's nice. And for a listing agent, that helps the listing agent with his client. But if you are really trying to work that open house, an open house is just that. It needs to be open. It needs to be open for a decent amount of time. Okay. Other thing about that is when you're holding the open houses, you should make sure that everybody signs in. If nothing else, have a sign-in sheet. A little bit more sophisticated. They've got apps that you can do. I even think there's something in KV Core for those of you who are with DXP that use that. But there are apps where you can do, they have people sign in, get them information right away, put them on immediate lists to start getting proper. There's stuff that you can do. But at the least, you should have them sign in, and at the least, get their email address, their phone number, and preferably their address. Why their address? Because I am a strong believer in personal handwritten notes. I believe that if you write handwritten notes and you get them to the people right away, they remember you. They remember you for as you begin to touch them. Be the same thing if you get an email address or a phone number. If you get an email address, I would advise you to do a video email. Make sure they see you and remember you, right? If you're going to do a text, obviously a text or a phone call. But you actually really want to do them. Say your open house is Saturday night or Saturday. If you can put your information in the mail Saturday where they get it Monday, or you put it in Sunday to where they get it Monday, they get it immediately, you'll be surprised how much more of effect they will have. Because believe it or not, they're not going to remember you. Even if they have a good conversation with you, they may not remember you. So you want to begin again to build that relationship and get those touches. The other thing is this: signs and signage. I know that 5, 6 signs or whatever, you put them up, one in front of the house and one and all that, but you want your open house to be more like an event. And one of the ways to do an event, and there's a couple of agents around town here that are friends of mine that are great at this, but you want to put out a lot of signs. I mean, you do. You want to put out a lot of signs, and you want to put them out early. You put them out earlier than what the open house is. And then maybe you don't put the sign in front of the open house until you're there, or you have one of those signs saying that the open house is going to start at a certain time frame, any of that. But what you want to do is you want to get a lot of signage up, and you want to utilize the day as much as possible. So that way people, when they're leaving, maybe your open house is at 11 or 12. But if people are leaving the house at 8, 9, 10 o'clock, you want your signs up already. Now, remember to take them down, because at least in the areas that I am, that's technically a violation, and you don't want that. And somebody will probably tell on you. So just make sure that you put up as many signs as you can. Me, honestly, 20, 25 signs. You want it to look like an event. And if you happen to have some of those big banners and all that, you can sit in front of the house. That's great too. One of the last other things that I would do if I'm sitting open houses consistently is to, at the open house, when you're there, do a quick Facebook Live or a quick video tour, not only of the house, but it shows your signs, all that type of stuff, and just be present. Be present, okay? There's quite a few other things you can do, but to me, these are some basics that will increase your opportunities from the open houses that you do that are cheap, inexpensive, and or free. All right, y'all. Looking forward to the next time. And remember, no matter what you're going through, things change. And it truly is. It's a great life. God bless you now.